Alrighty, today we are going to talk about rear ends, specifically, as you see in the video title, active toe versus sway bars. Kind of see it in the golem there. You guys are familiar with both these cars, SDMST obviously, weight shift build, and I did a video a while ago on the active toe on this car, and this is the golem, my comp build, and I did a video on the sway bar a while ago. So you guys are pretty familiar with these cars, I'd say, unless you're new to the channel, which if you are, hello. But yeah, so I'm gonna get into what active toe and the sway bars are, what they do, and which one is right for your rear end. So, or maybe none of them. Some people don't run either, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. But yeah, I think for starters, we'll start with active toe. I'm gonna go into what it is, how it works, and benefits, drawbacks, yada yada. And then same thing with the sway bar right after. So what it is, benefits, drawbacks, how it works, all that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside, and I'll go ahead and get into this thing and kind of showing what the active toe is and all that stuff. Today's video is sponsored by Casa Drift, so thank you Casa Drift for that. I will be showcasing the RevD sway bar kit in this video. And that's something you can pick up through him. He'll ship it out to you. Hit him up on Facebook. He's got RevD stuff, Yokomo stuff, Shibata stuff, AccuVance, Exalt, Tamiya, just a ton of options. Bingo Wasp stuff, all that stuff you can pick up through him. Hit him up on Facebook. Tell him OneTenFlicks sent you, and then not only that, tell him to get the website going. He is a little busy right now, but if he gets that website going, it'll be a lot easier for you guys to order stuff through him, a lot easier for you guys to see his inventory, and I think it'll overall just be a win-win for everybody. So tell him I sent you, and tell him to get the website going, and yeah, thank you Casa Drift for sponsoring today's video. So, what is active toe? Now, active toe is the toe in the rear, specifically, changing its geometry during suspension movement. More specifically, during suspension compression, it will increase in toe. That is typically what you're looking for with an active toe system. Now, active toe systems can either be mounted in front of the axle, like this, or some are mounted in the rear of the axle, just on other models. I think Yokomo's will mount on the rear. I think depending on the options for Shibatas, they can mount on the rear or the front. Bunch of different options. But specifically for the MST, which I have right here, it will be mounted on the front. And the way it works is you can kind of see it is at an angle currently. Now, when the suspension compresses, that changes the angle of the arm, which in turn will change the distance between the chassis and the knuckle, which in turn as well will cause the toe to move a certain direction depending on where you have it. So with this MST, for example, if we kind of have it sitting about even right here, when the suspension compresses in the rear, it's going to put that arm on an angle, which then in turn decreases that distance between the chassis and the knuckle, thereby bringing this inwards, creating toe in. Now, why do you want toe in? Toe in the rear can help with stability in corners, as well as give you a higher corner exit speed, from my understanding. There's a bunch of different tuning factors that can go into all that and everything. And personally, it's all, whatever you want. My Golem, for example, I have 0 toe in the rear, and it's non-active. When this car was a competitive build, I had like half a degree, and the active toe would kick in and bring it into like 2 or 3. And like I said, it's all personal preference on what you want to see out the rear end, track conditions, how you want the car to drive, etc. Now, a lot of active toe systems, depending on holes you have it mounted in, angle you have it set to, will change the aggressiveness of it. I know on the Shibatas, they have different holes kind of on the chassis side that change the physical angle and how you have the active toe set, and that'll change the aggressiveness of the active toe. Shock and rear end setup will play into how effective this is. If you have super loose shocks and all that, you're going to get a lot more chassis movement, which will make your active toe a lot more active. And if you have a really stiff setup, it won't make it as active, but maybe you set the angle more aggressively so it still is kind of active, but still with a stiff rear end. A lot of tuning that can go into this. And now obviously as well, depending on the length you make this, you can change your static toe to wherever you want it, which is pretty cool as well. But yeah, that's just kind of what active toe is. I believe I went over kind of the pros of it. Cons, it's more moving parts. It's more things that can break. I know occasionally on this MST, I don't remember if it's this side or this side, it likes to come loose. And then all of a sudden, once it comes loose, now, hey, now this thing is just wobbling all around, which is not good. You don't want it to be super active, I guess, to where this is like unstable and it's going to cause, your chassis to not function properly. So that's something you got to consider as well. It's more moving parts, more things can break, and yada yada. But overall, back at least when this was a competitive chassis setup, I really liked how this active toe felt. I believed it made a pretty substantial improvement, at least to the MST, allowing toe change in the rear without having to get different toe blocks, and just overall helping with corner stability and corner exit speed. If you have an MST, this is something I do recommend you get. But as I mentioned, it's not for everybody. It's not for every track condition. And yeah, it's just something you have to mess with, play with, and find out on your own. So now moving on to sway bars. As you can see, I have a sway bar in here. Now this is the Rev D sway bar kit, and it just so happens to fit on the Golem, which is pretty cool. But yeah, if you guys are interested in the Rev D sway bar kit for maybe your RDX, or maybe you want to try to retrofit on something else, as I mentioned earlier in the video, you can hit up Casa Drift, hit him up on Facebook, and he'll send you out one of these, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so this works kind of similarly, where it's based on suspension compression, but not fully how active toe is. So this is more based on body roll rather than up and down suspension compression. So you're coming into a corner, your body's going to be leaning this way or that way if you're going the other way, but just say you're coming in the corner this way. So your body's going to be leaning this way. So you're going to be putting pressure down on here. Now sway bars kind of work like a spring. So if you put pressure down on this side, the other side is going to go the opposite way. So we're pushing down here, which is forcing this sway bar to go up, which means it is forcing this end to go down. And with this being forced down, it's putting more pressure on the wheel back here, which is your trailing wheel, which should give you more grip. So you're coming into the corner, putting pressure here, forcing this up, forcing this down, more pressure here. And now when you're in the corner, you theoretically have more grip here, which should help with, it's more grip. So it should be faster. Not everybody runs sway bars. At least locally, they're starting to become a lot more common. I don't want to say I was the first one, but at the same time, I do want to say I was the first one to run a sway bar locally. So I don't know if everyone's just kind of following my footsteps because I'm doing so well, or if there's actually something to this. But either way, at least locally, they're becoming a lot more popular rather than active toe. And I mean, it's working. People are picking them up for their RDXs at least, and they're liking them. One guy picked one up for his MST, which I'll show in a little bit. And yeah, they're working. People are performing well with them. People are liking them. And yeah, nice thing about sway bars too. So just kind of like how active toe is, where you can change the angle and all that, change the effectiveness. Sway bars, you can change the thickness of the sway bar itself, and that will change how active it is. So obviously, the thicker it is, the more pressure it'll put down on the other side, but it also means the more pressure you need to move it. So if you have a really thin sway bar, it'll move this way a lot easier, but it won't put as much pressure down on this side. And again, that's all in the tuning. So personally, I have the thickest sway bar Rev D offers back here. Also, personally, I haven't tried the other sizes to see if they work better or worse for this car, but I'm having good results with this, and I'm just gonna stick with it for now and just keep running it as is. Eventually, I'll put something, try a different size there. But for the Galm, it's kind of annoying to change this, so that's just why I haven't done it. But yeah, so one advantage over this versus active toe, it's less likely to malfunction. Now, don't get me wrong, I've still had a malfunction with this. I actually had a set screw, one of these set screws come loose on me, and it fell out. It was just during a event, actually the World of Wheels event. And so it didn't mean anything that it came out. I just put a new set screw in and it was ready to go. But it did fail, and the sway bar wasn't doing anything. But at least with it not doing anything, it didn't really affect how the car drove in a negative way to an extent. Versus the active toe, my rear wheel was loose and would not drive straight. With this, if it comes disconnected for whatever reason, well, now it's like you're just driving without a sway bar, which is not that big of a deal because a lot of people do that. Also, what's really nice is these don't weigh that much, so you're not really adding any weight at all to the car. Obviously, you're adding a little bit, but not a lot. Now, disadvantage-wise, you can see it's kind of tight. And as I mentioned earlier, they're annoying to change. At least on the Galm it is. So at least for the Galm, it's kind of tight, kind of hard to get in there. Not a lot of room. Rubs on the shocks a little bit. And if we look here, if I want to focus, let me see. I'm gonna zoom in real quick. Sorry guys, I got one hand right now. Yeah, it rubs on the axle at full droop. Now when the car is sitting down and under pressure, it doesn't rub on the axle, which is kind of nice. Kind of see there. It's not rubbing. As long as there's pressure on the rear wheels, it won't rub. But that is something to take in consideration as well. Especially if you have a lot of suspension movement in the rear, it could be rubbing on the axle, which could cause some issues, which is not a good thing. But yeah, I'm actually very happy with this sway bar setup, and I do like to recommend it to people because I genuinely think it's a good thing. But as I mentioned with both the active toe and this sway bar, you can run neither of them and have great success. But now I'm gonna go ahead and showcase my buddy, his MST, Spencer. You guys have seen him on the channel a couple times. And he's running a sway bar and active toe on the same car. And I did a little bit of an interview with him, which is pretty cool. And then after that, I'll kind of maybe dive a little bit deeper into what the interview is kind of about. And then we'll go to a conclusion from there on what maybe you want to run.
Alrighty, we have Spencer, Nordic Media. He does some filming for me sometimes. He has his own channel, check him out. And this is his MST 2.5. And he's got this crazy custom front end on it. But we're here for the sway bar and the active toe. Now, the active toe is pretty common on a lot of MST chassis. And that is where when the suspension compresses, you can see the toe goes inwards. Yet the sway bar, I have yet to see one online or in person on an MST. And the MST does make a sway bar kit. You see right there. Now, Spencer, I have him mic'd up. You could tell me why you wanted to do a sway bar.
I just want to do the sway bar because I felt like even with the active toe, as the car would roll, it didn't really feel like the active toe was doing a whole lot. So by adding the sway bar, and I have the second thickest sway bar on the car right now, now it only utilizes the active toe when you're on throttle or you're in turbo. But yeah, that's mainly the biggest reason why I did the sway bar. Just keep it from rolling in the rear. And by doing so, I feel like it really activated the active toe, at least in my personal feel and opinion.
Now, when you first added the sway bar, did you feel a crazy difference right away, or did you have to adjust anything to kind of make it feel how you wanted it to feel?
I adjusted the rear toe. I believe I'm at 3 degrees of inward rear toe, or it's either 2 or 3 degrees. Can't remember off the top of my head. And that's when I really felt like the sway bar started actually doing anything. I've tried rear toe at various different degrees. Didn't really seem to do a whole lot. But now that I have the sway bar in the corners, it's much, much quicker. I can actually reel in other people while I'm tandeming or during a comp. So, yeah.
Have you tried any other sway bar sizes or just this size?
I tried the thicker one, and I think some roll is definitely beneficial, but the body roll I had initially was too much, and the sway bar really helped with that. So I went to the thinnest, and I didn't think it was doing anything at that point, so I did the second thinnest, and that seemed to really make a big difference.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for talking to me about this. I think it's an amazing setup, especially something you don't see often. You'll see sway bars and you'll see active toe, but you never really see them together. And one thing I like that we're live at Casa right now. Something crazy just went down. But one thing I like, I don't even remember my train of thought. But yeah, so one thing that's interesting about the active toe, as you know, when it compresses, this will go inwards. But with how sway bars work, as I mentioned earlier in the video, it's putting now pressure on over here, which is also giving this some toe as well. And I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, once again, thank you, Spencer, Nordic Media, for kind of sharing this and talking with me. And yeah, on to the rest of the video.
So, what is the right system for you? Active toe or sway bar? Or maybe nothing. Well, if you're looking for a bit more corner stability and a bit more corner exit speed, active toe will probably be your best choice. But this is really nice. You can set up a zero toe standard alignment, but mid corner on throttle, high throttle. You can give yourself some of that toe in, which will give you some stability and that corner exit speed coming out of corners. If you're looking for a lot more grip and you feel your car is pretty stable, maybe the sway bar is a better option. Going into the corner, leaning the chassis with some body roll, putting pressure on the outside wheel, forcing it out, and giving you all the grip you need to get to where you want to be. As I've mentioned several times, I don't think there's an advantage one over the other. I think it's mainly tuning preference. What are you looking for out of the chassis? And honestly, if your chassis feels great and you try both of these and you don't feel you need them, you can run nothing. Hey, that's weight savings right there. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something out of this. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm sure I missed some stuff. But yeah, I like to, kind of get this information out there, help people out where they, maybe are struggling with. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys have a great day.